Well guys, considering it's the last week of Halloween horror fun here on Weekend Wankshop, plus we got the brand new Suspiria remake coming up around the corner, I think this week seems like as good a time as any to explore Goblin's incredible soundtrack from the original Suspiria. Well, hey there guys, and welcome to this week's installment of Weekend Wankshop, here with the host with the most, Uncle Ben. Dario Argento's Suspiria is one of my favorite horror flicks of all time, and it's made all the better by the incredible soundtrack by Goblin. Goblin is one of those groups that a lot of people don't necessarily know by name, but I guarantee you so many of your favorite bands and so many of your favorite classic video game soundtracks and stuff were influenced by Goblin. You can even hear a lot of Goblin stuff popping up on that new Ghost record, for example. Go check them out on Spotify and listen through a bunch of their stuff and you'll see exactly what I mean. Today we're going to be looking at the main theme from Suspiria, which is mainly played on a celesta and bells, but I've rearranged it to work on guitar. It's pretty fun and challenging to play, and you can do a whole bunch of different picking approaches to increase your picking power while you learn this awesome theme. But before we dive into it, let's hear it again at Helena Marcos speed. And as always, for a full tab for this week's lesson, you can find that over on my Instagram page at Ben Eller Guitars. Be sure to go on there, give me a follow, find the tab for this week's lesson, then upload a video of yourself shredding through it, along with the hashtag Weekend Wankshop. Also in the video description below, I've put a link to a playlist of all my other Halloween horror fun lessons, so be sure to click on that and learn how to play the themes from Halloween, The Exorcist, Saw, and much more. Okay, first things first, let's talk a little bit about the tone that I'm using today. I've got my Sir Alt T, which is a semi-hollow T-style guitar. I'm on the neck humbucker right here, which is really low output. I'm going through my Kemper Profiler, and for one, I've got a metric ass ton of compression on it to get it a little bit more in that, even synth-like kind of tone. But most importantly, I've got a little bit of a kind of an octave up 12 string kind of sound blended in here. This is based on a preset called Kemper Cathedral that if you have a Kemper Profiler, it comes on it. And basically all I did is I turned off the octave down. It's usually got like an octave down sound too. I didn't like how that sounded on this. So I turned that part of it off, and I believe I turned the blend down a little bit. So you're mainly hearing just the unprocessed guitar signal, but you got a little bit of that octave up shining through. Not essential, but I knew somebody would ask, so there you go. So I was surprised to find out that this is all essentially just power chords moving around. I thought it was like big, full arpeggios and stuff, but it's mainly just power chords moving diatonically through the D minor scale. And what we're going to start off here is by playing the 15th B, 14th G, and 12th D. It's like a D5. Next what we're going to do is to move up a whole step, and we're going to play the 17th B, 15th G, and the 14th D. Now again, you'll notice this shape was a little different than this one. If we would use that exact same power chord shape, we would have had this B note, which is out of key. So basically you got to move this around to that B flat, so that way you stay in key. So you got Next move up to an F, we're gonna play the 18 on the B, the 17 on the G, and the 15 on the D. Now you got the first three. After this, if you're playing a 22 fret guitar like me, jump up to your maximum position here for an A. We're gonna play the 22nd B, 21st G, and 19th D, okay? Move down a whole step back to your G. So you're gonna be playing on 20, 19, and 17. Then move down to F, where you're gonna be playing 18, 17, and 15. And then move back up a whole step to your G and play it 2 times. So again, this is 20, 19, and 17, 2 times in a row. Now you have the first kind of half. After this, what we're gonna do is go back to F. So I'm playing 18, 17, 15, then G, where you're playing 20, 19, 17, then up to your A, 22, 21, 19. Then you gotta jump all the way back down here to a D, where you began, so 15, 14, 12, okay? So that little walk up is... And then this is where we're gonna have 2 different endings. The first ending is kind of an A7 sort of sound. And how I'm doing that is I'm playing the 14th B, 14th G, and the 17 on the D 2 times. And then this D minor arpeggio. 15th B, 14th G, 15th D, 17th A. Just like that. So that ending is... And like I said, that's the first ending. Basically what you do is you repeat all the same stuff after that, and we have a second ending that I'll show you here in a second. Okay, so what we have so far will be first ending. Now the next time through, repeat all the same stuff. Except when you get to right here. Okay, now again, it's an A7 sound, but it has an E at the top. So our second ending is gonna have this shape. We're gonna have the 17th B, the 14th G, and the 17th D. I'm using my 4th, 1st, and 3rd fingers to play that one. Play that 2 times. And then that same D minor arpeggio. So again, that's the only difference, is the first ending is second ending. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So the whole thing is gonna be first ending, second ending. Now when it comes to picking through that, there's a lot of different options you could do depending on what you want to practice. That's what's cool about this is kind of a great warm-up and etude for different techniques. Initially when I first figured it out, I was playing it all finger style. So I was using just like 3-finger rolls to play all those, middle, index, thumb on each. That's great if you want to work on that finger picking stuff. The next level up, if you want to still involve a little bit of like hybrid picking, would be the other way I was playing, which was like hybrid, up, down on each of these. So in other words, I'm always plucking the B string with my middle finger, doing it up on the G and a down on the D, like this. And there at the end, that's hybrid, up, up, up. Maybe a downstroke at the end. Either way, it doesn't really matter. Now, if you want to really brutalize yourself, straight alternate pick this entire thing. And that'd be a great cross-picking kind of exercise where you can really work on those, I call it the turn-in key kind of cross-picking motions that you're going to need in order to get in and out of the strings. Now this is a great thing to work on because since these are 3-note groupings, that means the first grouping is going to go down, up, down, and the second grouping is going to go up, down, up. So it inverts itself every arpeggio. You know, so that's a great way to practice that stuff. That's really brutal. But, you know, again, if you don't push yourself, you'll never get any better, right? Now, another way that you could play this that most players would probably find the most comfortable is to use a little bit of economy picking. In my head, I'm just thinking always putting the pick in the direction of the next string, you know? So you might have great success playing this as up, up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down. You know, again, you could go up, 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 but then I'm further away from the B string to start the next set, right? That's why I would recommend going up, up, down, like that. But the option that I ended up kind of settling into that just felt the best to me and sounded the best is to play all of the groupings the same as down, up, down. So they're all down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. What I liked about that as opposed to the cross-picking kind of approach where it's down, up, down, up, down, up, I like that the first note of the arpeggio has some real punch to it because it's happening under a downstroke. Like that. To me that sounds really consistent and really aggressive, so that's kind of how I ended up picking this, is down, up, down on every single set. But like I said, you could kind of contour that to suit whatever technique it is you're looking to improve. So try it out all the different ways and see what you think is best. Now, another thing I know that somebody's going to ask about are the weird chords that go behind this melody. Now, on the original, they're played on a bouzouki, which is kind of like big mandolin. Bouzouki's are awesome. I think that they sound really, really cool. And I tried to figure out those chords as closely as I could. A bouzouki is tuned a lot different from a guitar, so I'm not going to say that these are without a doubt 100% accurate, but it sounded in the neighborhood enough for me. And again, essentially all it's doing is using the top 4 strings of the guitar, using the open D string, and some ringing high notes on these other strings. I recorded this on a Strat in the 2nd position, so it was really bright and thin and jangly. There's a ton of compression on there in order to make them sound nice and glassy. And I definitely cranked up that 12-string octave up kind of sound a little more to try to match the tone of that bouzouki. The chords and the rhythm are in no discernible pattern. I wonder if there really is a pattern to it and I just haven't picked up on it. So I'm going to show you the shapes and everything, but leave it up to you to figure out exactly where they're falling. There's a lot of stuff that falls on beat 4 and even some stuff that falls on weird accents like the up of 4 and stuff like that. But basically it's just one chord shape moving around the neck. First shape here is going to use my open D string, my 2 on my G, my 3 on my B, and my 5 on my E. It's just that grip right there. It's a big D5. And then that moves up to the 5th position. So we got open, 5, 6, 8. After this it moves up to the 10th position. Open, 10, 11, 13. Then down to the 7th position. Open, 7, 8, 10. Back up to the 10th. Then the 2nd. That's your first line. 2, 5, 10, 7, 10, and 2. The next part starts off here at the 5th position, so that's 5, 6, 8, and my open D string, up to 10th, 7th, 10th, and 2nd. Jumping all the way up to 10th, 12th now. This is 12, 13, 15. And then back to that 10th position. After this is where the full strumming kind of comes in. And that's back on the 2, 3, 5 kind of chord shape. Sounds like on the original that moves around a bit, but I didn't get that deep into it. So here you go guys, a complete lesson on how to play one of the coolest horror movie soundtrack tunes of all time. Like I said, I definitely recommend you check out more of Goblin's work on Spotify. You can also find Claudio Simonetti's solo page on there as well. Such awesome stuff, and definitely sit down and watch some of these Argento flicks if you never have. They're so surreal and dreamy and weird. I can't help but love them. So yeah, definitely check those out sometime. Also, if you're a horror movie fan and enjoy a podcast, check out my weekly horror movie review podcast, Dead and Lovely, available on all podcast apps and SoundCloud. And let me know in the comments below if you're excited about the upcoming Suspiria remake. I know that I am. I was initially really skeptical because the original is obviously such a classic, But I like the fact that they're not trying to replicate the tone of the original and they're doing their own thing with it, which I think is what a good remake ought to do. Thanks again so much for watching. It's been a lot of fun having another Halloween on Weekend Wankshop, showing you guys more spooktacular themes from classic horror movies. Let me know in the comments below what you guys would like to see featured next year. Maybe it's a favorite theme from a TV show or a movie or even a video game. And we'll get into that stuff next time. But for now, get away from this doggone computer and go play some guitar. Less clicking, more picking.